Welcome to our continued video devotions in the book of Job. We've been studying the issue of suffering well. The book of Job is given uniquely to enable Christians to suffer well, and we've been introduced to the problem of suffering and to Job as a blameless and upright man who went through immense suffering, wave upon wave of loss coming upon him. And we've seen how he cried out for a mediator and a redeemer, and how that's been fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. And therefore, we said last time that even though Job was a righteous man, and Job was indeed a better man than we will ever be, because of Jesus, we have a better hope than he ever had. We have a full, clear, robust hope in bodily resurrection from the dead. Now, today, we're going to talk about holding on to earthly blessings loosely. Holding on to earthly blessings loosely. This is another theme in the book of Job. Job was a stunningly wealthy man, very wealthy. His wealth is described in Job 1 and verse 2 and 3. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. Now, back then in that agrarian society, wealth was measured by livestock and by land and by servants, and certainly also by gold and silver. Job had all of these in abundance. He was, it was said, the greatest man in all the East, meaning, at least in other things, the wealthiest and most influential and powerful. That's who Job was. Yet, he lost all of his wealth in a single day. Job 1, 13 through 19 describes wave upon wave of sorrow that comes upon this man. One servant comes and tells him that he's lost all of his sheep, and another comes and tells him that he's lost all of his camels, and another tells him that he's lost all of his oxen and donkeys, and then sadly one of them comes and tells him that he's lost all 10 of his children, 7 sons and 3 daughters. It's a terrifying time. Wave upon wave. Well, one servant was speaking, the next one came. I can hardly imagine what that day must have been like, to lose all of your wealth in a single day, one moment after another. Now, true, at the end of his life, he received from God's hand double of all that he had lost. So if you look at all of the categories of wealth that are described in Job chapter 1, he had double of those blessings given back to him at the end of the book. Obviously, he could never have the same children back again, but he received sons and daughters in that same number as well. But I must think that at the end of his life, Job must have been very philosophical about his wealth. He was already a wise man about his wealth. He didn't make an idol of his gold or silver or his possessions. But seeing how quickly all of them could be lost must have made him realize that even these new forms of wealth could be lost very quickly as well. So how then should we hold on to our earthly blessings properly, but also, as I said, loosely? First, I would say be deeply thankful to God for all of your earthly blessings. Your wealth, your children, and your loved ones, your health, your reputation in the community, all of these things are good gifts from God. James 1:17 says, every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who doesn't change like shifting shadow. Also, in 1 Timothy 6:17, it says, God richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. So everything you enjoy in this life is a gift of God, and you should enjoy it. We shouldn't live in fear and terror at every moment of the loss of possessions or of loved ones. Instead, we need to be willing to accept them as good gifts from God, but not cling to them as idols. Second, we should realize all of these good things, these blessings, are given to us by God for us to use for God's glory. Job was very generous with his wealth. He says in Job 31 that he satisfied the desires of the poor and the widow and the orphan. He made certain that they ate from his table and received the benefits of his wool from his sheep, etc. He made certain that the naked were clothed. He was generous with his wealth. So we also should realize that our wealth has been given to us by God to build the kingdom of God. We should seek first his kingdom and his righteousness and use our wealth to build his kingdom. Also, in the parable of the unrighteous steward in Luke 16, verse 9, Jesus sums it up by saying, I tell you, use worldly wealth to gain friends for yourselves, so that when it is gone, you'll be welcomed into eternal dwellings. The whole point of that parable is that wealth is transient. You can lose it quickly. So before you lose it, either through death or through some kind of disaster like Job went through, use it. Spend it for the kingdom. Spend it for missions. Spend it to alleviate the sufferings of the poor and needy. Don't be idolatrous and cling to it. Thirdly, we should realize all of our blessings can be taken from us quickly. I mean, just look at what happened to Job. It says in Proverbs 23:5, "Cast but a glance at riches, and they are gone, for they will surely sprout wings and fly off to the sky like an eagle." Many people who invest in the stock market have seen how the stock market can plunge over a number of weeks or even faster than that and wipe out retirement savings very, very quickly. And so we need to hold on to our earthly blessings loosely, knowing that disasters or other things can come and wipe them out. Fourth, we have to realize God has every right to take away from us our earthly blessings. They don't really ultimately belong to us. They really ultimately belong to Him. Job said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." And Job didn't sin in what he said. He recognized that everything he had was added to him by the blessing of God, and they really belonged to God, that God had the right to take them. So, if you are suffering the loss of possessions, you should not charge God with injustice. Those things belong to God anyway. Fifth, realize our true wealth as Christians is Jesus Christ. Our true wealth is Christ. He is the treasure hidden in the field. And also, our true wealth comes from serving Christ. By serving Christ, we can store up treasure in heaven. As Jesus said in Matthew 6, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy and thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Also, we see those heroes of the faith in Hebrews 11 recognize that they were aliens and strangers in this world. They're just passing through. They knew that their true inheritance was in the next world, the world to come. They knew, as aliens and strangers in this world, they really effectively were like living in tents. And even their experience in the body was like living in a tent. Everything is temporary. Instead, they were looking ahead to a city with foundations whose architect and builder is God. And God has prepared a city for them and a world for them that will be eternal. So also we should see ourselves as aliens and strangers passing through until we come to our true inheritance in heaven. So, receive all of your blessings as gifts from God, but hold on to them loosely. Use them for the glory of God and for the kingdom of God, and realize your true wealth is Christ and the heaven that He died to buy for you.